Good day to you all. This is Creative Works by Annie, and welcome to my channel. Today I thought we would create a ornament for your tree. This particular pattern you can find that we're going to be working up today is free on Ravelry. It's just for this single little ball, and this also comes in a larger set, this pattern called Tree of Skulls. You can find that on my Ravelry page and Etsy page. All the links are going to be down below, so you don't have to search for anything. But in the full pattern of Tree for Skull or Tree of Skulls, you will get not only multiple different patterns for the Christmas balls, but you will also find patterns for the larger 4-inch balls. And you will find snowflake patterns and even a really cool 3D tree topper that comes apart so you can store it easily, and then you can pop it back up every Christmas. So go check those out. Go grab your free pattern real quick, and then come head back to me. Okay, talk to you in a little bit. Okay, welcome back. Hope you have your pattern all set next to you. It is a little bit wordy. I originally wrote this pattern in 2019, and that was really before I started to learn how to condense it down. But it's the exact same pattern, just a little wordier. I'm going to condense some of the wording in here to modernize it a little bit, but the pattern's exactly the same. Okay? So I'm using a 1.9 millimeter hook. Just ignore the 5. Mine are vintage. I inherited it from one of my in-laws, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite hooks. I am also using a size 10 cotton crochet thread, so any color, variety, anything you would like to do. So I just want to also mention that if you have clear ball, if you buy clear balls, you can actually put paint in them of any shade you want. This is just black acrylic paint on the inside of this, and I did 2 coats. Okay, and remember, in the Tree of Skulls pattern set, you'll be able to use the larger balls and create crochet around those as well. So just keep that in mind. So let's get started. We're going to make our slip knot. We're going to chain 6. We're going to join to make a little loop. Now I always work over my thread, over my tails, and I would highly recommend doing that in this pattern just because it's a little hard to dig out the tail when you come to the, if you already have this on your ball. Okay, it's a little hard to dig it out and sew it in, so work over your tails. So we're going to do a beginning shell, which is working a chain 3 and a DC, a chain 2, and 2 more DC, and that's going to be the beginning shell. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to create a V-stitch. Now remember, in the written pattern, it's going to be a little more wordy and it's going to be written out. Chain 2, we're going to work another shell, which is 2 DC, chain 2, and 2 DC. Chain 2 again. We're going to work another V-stitch. We're going to chain 2 and then join in the top of our beginning chain. Beginning chain right here, top, right there. Just join with a little slip stitch. Now you can either do one of 2 things, slip stitch into this next stitch and then into here, or just cheat like I do, make a single chain and then slip stitch in. It just saves time, a lot quicker, a lot easier. And it also helps pull it in a little bit. So now round 2, we're going to chain 3 again, starting that beginning shell. Chain 2, working 2 more DC. We're going to chain 1. Always in this pattern, on either side of the shell is a chain 1. Okay? So now we're going to put a DC together, or also known as a 2 DC cluster. I always call them a 2 DC together or 2 DC tog. So just make note of that. It's just a 2 joined together, 2 giving each other a hug, you could say. And we're going to put that right in this first chain space. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work a double crochet, chain 4, and a double crochet in this next chain space right here. Okay, we're going to work a chain 2. We're going to work a 2 DC together right in this chain space. We're going to work a chain 1 and a shell in this shell space. Going to chain 1, put a DC together right into the next chain space. Going to chain 2 and work a DC, chain forward, and a DC inside this next chain space. Going to chain 2, work a DC together in the next chain space, a chain 1, and we're going to join with a slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain. Now at this point I'm going to actually flip it over because I did work over my tail, and I'm going to snip it. Now I don't have to worry about that. This side's all done. So we are going to start round 3. Slip stitch or cheat your way into the shell, the beginning shell, and start another beginning shell. And we're going to chain 1. We're going to put a DC together right on top of this DC together. Now we're going to chain 3. And normally, if you have ever worked any of my other skull patterns, I usually put DCs right here, or double crochets right here. But in this pattern, because it's so short, I'm using half double crochets right here. So we're going to put 7 half double crochets right in this chain space. 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to work a chain 3 and a DC together on top of that last DC together. Going to chain 1, do a shell inside the shell, chain 1, put another DC tog inside on top of that other DC tog. Going to chain 3, work 7 more half double crochets into that chain space there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my cats that are fighting next to me. Okay, we're going to do another chain 3. We're going to put another DC together right on top of that last DC together. Chain 1, join right on top of there again. Okay, now we're going to be working round 4. So we're going to start our beginning shell again. Now I'm trying to go slow, but I'm pretty fast still, even going slow. So feel free anytime to pause it, catch up, and just remember you also have the printed copy that you can also work off of. So after the shell, chain 1, DC together, top of that last DC together, chain 3. Now here's where it's going to get a little weird, okay? Because these are half double crochets, it's going to give you some would call it a hidden stitch, because you can't really see where to work into, okay? So you can either work your next stitch, which is DC together, in this hidden stitch, or you can start right here and your last stitch would be right here. So either way, I'm going to do one side without using this as a hidden stitch, and then the other side I'm going to do it using it as a hidden stitch, and you can compare and just do whichever way you feel comfortable. Okay? I'm going to work a 2 DC together there. We're going to skip the stitch, single DC, chain 1, skip stitch, single DC, chain 1, and then a DC together after you skip another stitch. Chain 3, put a DC together on top of the next DC together, chain 1, and shell in the shell space. Chain 1, DC together on top of that next DC together, chain 3. Now this side I'm going to use this as a hidden stitch, and I'm going to go right into the next one. I'm going to work my DC together. Chain 1, skip stitch, DC and next, chain 1, skip stitch, DC and next one, chain 1, skips. You're going to skip this one. There's a little spot right afterwards. You can work into that one. Let me get this in here real quick, and then we will compare the two sides. Okay, so this was working after, and this was working before. Okay, so it really doesn't matter, just as long as you get the right count. Okay, can you see that okay? So this was working in what some would call the hidden stitch. Okay, and this side right here is working in no hidden stitch, because you're skipping the hidden stitch. Okay, so now we're going to start row 5, work our beginning shell, chain 1, work once again on top of that DC together, working a DC together on top of it, chain 3. Now we're going to work a DC, we're going to skip the chain, work a DC together on top of the next DC together, chain 1, DC in the next stitch, chain 1, DC in the next stitch, chain 1, and DC together in the next stitch. Now you have 2 rows of teeth. Going to chain 3, DC together on this side, chain 1, and shell and shell. Quick little bit of info. Before we moved from Michigan down to North Carolina, I used to put up 27 Christmas trees. Yes, 27. Every room had at least 1 tree in it, even the bathrooms. Yeah, that includes garland, little miniature houses that my sister-in-law made, and big, huge 3-foot long manger that my mom made with little figurine, with 18-inch high figurines that my grandmother got, and a whole bunch of other little mangers. Yeah, my whole house was just loaded. So, and then now because of the cats, we don't put up any Christmas trees. No, our latest cats, they won't let us, and I value my collection too much, so we did narrow the trees down to 5, but I still don't put them up. No, I know they were gorgeous though, but not worth it. So, okay, we're now going to start round 6, working our beginning shell in the beginning shell space one more time, chaining 1, working a DC together in top of the next DC together, chaining 3, and now we're going to put a half double crochet. Oh, actually, pattern says chain 2. We'll chain 2. We'll remove 1. So chain 2 and half double crochet right next to the next stitch, but in the chain space. Okay? We're giving them cheeks. So now we're going to single crochet across to the other side there. You should have 7 single crochets. Now you're going to put another half double crochet in the next chain space right here. Okay? I'm going to chain 2 and work our DC together. Top of the next one, chain 1, shell in shell, chain 2, finish your shell. Okay, chain 1, working our DC together on top of the last DC together, chaining 2, putting a half double crochet in next chain space, single crochet across. Remember, you should have 7 of them. Another half double crochet in the chain space, chain 2, work your DC together. Top of the last one and the next one, chain 1, and slip stitch top of your beginning chain. Okay? So you have a little bowl so far. Both are the same on either side. Okay? So now we're going to start round 7. This side we're going to do the nose and finish off the cheeks. So we're going to start our beginning shell. Once again, do our chain 1 and DC together on top of the next DC together. We're going to chain 3. We're going to work, this time, we're going to be working in what some would call the hidden stitch. So 2 half double crochets right there. we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 4 for the nose, skip a stitch, single crochet in the next one, and then single crochet in the next 2. Okay, we're going to work 2 half doubles right in the next stitch. Okay, now we have the nose and we finished off the cheeks. Going to chain 3, DC together in there, chain 1, work our shell in the shell, and then we're going to repeat that to the other side. Okay, it's amazing, sometimes you can see that hidden stitch and sometimes you can't. It's really weird. DC together to the next DC. Okay, chain 1, slip stitch to the beginning, and we are now on to row 8. Row 8, we're going to make the little eye holes. So slip stitch in and start working on your beginning shell. Once again, the chain 1, DC together on top of here. You can kind of see that we've made like a little cute ladder. Okay, now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to work 2 half double crochets. You can either work them into that hidden stitch area or just put them into the next stitch where it's easier. It's up to you. You're going to have the same look. Now we're going to chain 6. We're going to single crochet right in the middle of this next chain space. Okay, chain 6 again. We're going to skip the next 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches and do 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. Chain 3, DC together on top of the next DC together, chain 1, and shell. Okay, you can start to see we have our little skeleton, our little skull head going here. Okay, so let's finish off round 8. You have the shell in the shell, of course. Chain 1, DC together, and chain 3, 2 HDCs right in that stitch, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet in the next chain space, chain 6, skipping 2, 3, 4, putting 2 HDC or 2 half double crochets right in that space. Chain 1, 2, 3, and DC together and the next DC together. Chain 1 and join on the top once more. Okay, so now we have our little skulls. It's looking cute. Okay, round 9, we're gonna hit up the eyebrows. So start your beginning chain or beginning shell again. Chain 1, work your DC together on top of the last DC together, chain 3. We're going to skip the hidden stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and then put 5 single crochets in here and in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip this stitch, which is hidden, and single crochet in the next stitch, chain 3, DC together to this space, chain 1, and do a shell. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. Chain 1, DC together, chain 3, skip stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, working 5 single crochets in each of the next chain spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then skip what would be considered the hidden stitch, single crochet in the next one, chain 3, DC together on top of the next one, chain 1, and join. Okay, we're going to start round 10, expanding on the top of the skull. Start your beginning shell in the next shell space. Chain 1, DC together on top of the next DC together. Going to chain 3. We're going to skip the chain space, skip this first stitch right here. Can you see the first stitch? We're going to skip this one. We're going to single crochet in each of the next 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Chain 3. We're going to skip the next stitch and the chain space and DC together in the next DC together. Chain 1, shell in the next shell space. I said shell in the next shell space. And do the same on the other side. So chain 1, DC together on top of that one, chain 3, skip chain, skip stitch. This one is Anubis. So, yeah. Okay, so skip chain, skip stitch, and crochet in each of the next 10 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, chain 3, skip stitch, skip chain, DC together the next stitch. Okay, chain 1, join in that beginning shell. Okay, I know it's kind of hard because we got a little bowl going here. It's a little hard to see, but we are now on round 11. So work our way back into that beginning shell and create another beginning shell. Chain 1, work a DC together, the next DC together. Going to chain 3. We're going to skip the chain space and skip the next stitch. Okay, we're going to single crochet across the next 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, chain 3. Skip the stitch, skip the chain space, and DC together on top of the next DC together. Chain 1. Work a shell in the shell space. Okie dokie. Now we're going to work. I have a cat that's trying to play here, so sorry about this. We're going to do the opposite side. So we're going to chain 1, DC together, chain 3, skip chain, skip the next stitch, and work 8 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, chain 3, skip stitch, skip chain, and DC together in this next space right here. Going to chain 1. We're going to join in the beginning chain. Okay, now this is the point where we're going to put this inside of, sorry about that, I had cat issues. So this is going to go inside of this, okay? So you can either put a little stitch marker right here or just stretch it out, okay? Now, if you're working with a glitter ball, which I'm not going to do because I hate glitter, remember this acts like Velcro, okay? So you have to be very patient, and you're going to have to manipulate your crocheted piece when you start putting it up there, so that way you can center it. Okay. So just find the bottom, open it up, just push it right on in. Okay. You are still going to have to adjust. Play with it just a bit. Then just pull your loop back just a little bit so that way it's normal size. Okay. And then we are on round 12. You can see it's still a little loose. It'll tighten up and pull when we finish the next couple rows, when we finish it off, okay? Now, if you're using that glitter, remember, it's not going to go on as nice as what I just did. Okay, so don't get frustrated, just go really slow. You're going to get glitter everywhere, but you'll like it. Don't worry about that. You'll like the look. You'll just have glitter everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch into that beginning shell again. Okay, we're going to work our beginning shell. Now this is a little awkward because the ball will get in the way. So, okay, now we're going to chain 1. We're going to keep working again. So we're going to skip that chain 1 space and DC together in the next DC together. Going to chain 3. going to skip the next chain space, skip the next 2 stitches. So skip 1, 2, single crochet in the next one, and that'll give you 4 single crochets at the top of your skull right here. Okay, going to chain 3. We're going to DC together right in this next one. Going to chain 1, work into our shell space again, creating another shell space. Okay, try to get my tension right here. Slow and steady wins the race. Chain 2, finish up that shell. I did a half right there. Okay. Okay, now we're going to chain 1. Going to work another DC together right in that same strand of those. Chain 3. Recenter that. We're going to skip the chain space, skip the next 2 stitches, single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay. Going to chain 3, DC together into the next DC together. Chain 1. We're going to join with a slip stitch, top of that beginning chain. Okay, so now, since I have a smooth ball, it's textured but it's smooth, I can kind of move that and center that around. Okay, so now round 13 is either going to be adding 1 more row if you have a slightly larger ball, okay, or if you are working this up without a plastic ball in there, you work round 13 and there's also round 14 to finish that off. But because I do have the 2-inch balls and I've come to where I'm running out of space, I'm going to work the alternative section of round 13, okay? And that means I'm going to be finishing, this is going to be my last row, my finishing row, okay? So with that, we're going to slip stitch all the way over to here, okay? Now if you use that little cheat that I did, and showed you that you chain, slip stitch, chain, slip stitch type thing, you can get over there faster and it'll be a little bit easier, especially working over a ball like this, okay? It'll also help tighten things up just a little bit. So I'm doing a chain and then skipping over the stitches and doing a slip stitch inside the chain, okay? And I did another one, and now I'm going to be right in to where I belong, okay? So now I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to DC in that same stitch. Okay, and I'm going to skip all this, the chain, the 4 stitches right there in this chain, and I'm going to just slip stitch in top of that. Okay, you can see that really finishes off. It rounds it over and really frames the skull. Now I'm going to do my little thing again where I chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and then slip stitch into this next DC together, okay? Now remember, you can do a simple straightforward slip stitch. It's okay. I just prefer this way because it's a little quicker. Okay, so now we're going to chain 3 again. We're going to DC in that same space, or double crochet in that same space. Once again, we're going to slip stitch top of the next DC together, okay? So now we have both sides finished, and we worked right around the top, okay? So now we're just going to do a chain 2, pull it, cut it, just tighten it up, and then we just need to tuck in our tail, and we have a cute little skull Christmas ornament for your tree. Little cute things. If you drop them, so I always go with the plastic, especially with these really great little cute things. Okay, these also, you can either use them in your car, you can use them, or I mean on the tree, you can hang them from your car, your rear view mirror. Being plastic, that helps because you don't have to worry about glass or breaking in your car either. So this pattern, once again, for this little thing we created today, is free on Ravelry, and it's just a skull ornament. It is part of a larger set, and the larger set is called Tree of Skulls, which you can find on Ravelry and Etsy. All the links to everything are down below. So I hope you had fun with this. Feel free to share the video, and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.